Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, and we're here this morning for our Administrative Matters meeting. I call this meeting to order, and we'll begin as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We will start our agenda off with public comment. I don't believe we have anyone signed up for public comment, but wanted to open that up to the room to see if anybody would like to give public comment. I don't see any hands raised. Sarah, was there anyone who wanted to call in with public comment?
No, Commissioner.
Okay, we'll close public comment for the morning then and remind folks that they can come back next week and visit with us. Or email us or call us. And I guess I should do introductions. My name is Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. And with me are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally and Commissioner John Kofalis. From the clerk's office, we have Lindsay Jones. We have our county manager, Lorinda Volker, with us this morning. Tom Clayton from Public Affairs and Sarah Martin from the Commissioner's office. Our next item is approval of minutes, and I will ask Commissioner Kofalis to make the motion on this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I move to approve the minutes for the week of September 15th, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. So we're on to Sarah Martin with our schedule review.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for September 29th through October 4th, 2025. On Monday, September 29th from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Finance Committee meeting. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's Conference Room on the second floor. From 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., there will be a regional elected officials meeting at the Timnath Town Center in the community room at 4750 Signal Tree Drive in Timnath. On Tuesday, September 30th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioner Kofalis will attend the Larimer County Workforce Symposium at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., there will be a joint Larimer and Boulder County Board of County Commissioners meeting at 515 Kaufman Street in Longmont. On Wednesday, October 1st, from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioners may attend the University Connections presentation on navigating a changing landscape at the Lincoln Center at 417 Magnolia Street in Fort Collins. From 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual US 34 Coalition meeting. From 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the High Plains Boulevard Coalition meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Southwest Weld County Service Center at 4209 Weld County Road 24.5 in Firestone, or virtually via Microsoft Teams. From 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North I-25 Coalition meeting at the Southwest Weld County Service Center at 4209 Weld County Road 24.5 in Firestone. On Thursday, October 2nd, from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., Commissioner Kofalis will host a community conversation for the Wellington and Waverly communities at Avuncular Bob's T-Bar Inn at 3803 West Cleveland Avenue in Wellington. Topic will be announced prior to the meeting. From 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee meeting. Location will be announced prior to the meeting. From 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together policy meeting. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual National Association of Counties Transportation Policy Steering Committee meeting. From 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Go NOCO 34 Transportation Management Organization Board meeting. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the North Front Range Planning Organization Planning Council meeting at the Fort Collins, Colorado River Community Room at 222 LaPorte Avenue in Fort Collins. On Friday, October 3rd, from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual State Forest Health Council Legislative Committee meeting. From 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the State Board of Health meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1575 Sherman Street in Denver or virtually via Zoom. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Colorado Counties Inc. Legislative Committee and Membership meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1120 South Lincoln Street, number 904 in Denver or virtually via Zoom. From 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Regional Air Quality Council Board meeting at 1445 Market Street in Denver or virtually via Zoom. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together member check-in. From 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Commissioner Kapalis will attend the Wellington Eagles football game at Wellington Middle High School at 2856 Cleveland Avenue in Wellington. On Saturday, October 4th, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., there will be Common Grounds with Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Topic and location will be announced prior to the meeting. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host Larimer County Farmers Market Storytime at 200 West Oak Street in Fort Collins. And from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Masonic Centennial Rededication and Open House at 225 West Oak Street in Fort Collins.
Thank you, Sarah. Any corrections or additions? Commissioner Kafalis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just two adjustments. One, with regard to the Wellington Community Conversation on Thursday, October 2nd, I believe we're going to invite some folks from our budget team to give an update on the 2026 budget process. I would follow up with Michelle to confirm that. And the second item is regarding the State Board meeting on Friday, October 3rd. It's the State Board of Human Services, not the State Board of Health.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sarah, I think we might have some date switch. I think you mentioned on the 29th that you said it was the county commissioners meeting, but actually on, you do have it regional. Okay, so we do have the regional and then the other. I wasn't sure if we had gotten those correct. I had misheard them, I guess. So I wanted to make sure we had those correct between those two regional meetings. And then on the 29th, I just wanted to share that also I have, I don't think you put on the Opioid Abatement Advisory Council. That is going to be from 9 to 10 virtually regarding data for the Regional Opioid Abatement Council. That's from 9 to 10. And then I'm also, well, that one's not confirmed yet, so I have to wait about that. That's later in the afternoon. And then on the 30th, or actually the 1st, I am in Estes Park all day doing in-person interviews for Visit Estes Park. So I want to make sure that got on the calendar. I'll be there all day. And then I might still jump on because this might get done earlier than not, was a virtual meeting calling Adapting Through Change, Navigating Shifts at the Federal, State, and Local governments. And that's a virtual meeting. It's called Adapting Through Change of the Federal and State and Local Governments. So that's from 1 to 3. And then on the 2nd, I'm in all day. I am up at, let's see, what's it called? Big Thompson Watershed Coalition Sheep Creek Tour, which will be looking at stream restoration sites that have been impacted by debris flows. So that is up on Sheep Creek, and that is funding through the Colorado Water Board, Conservation Board, and U.S. Forest Service. So I will be on that tour at Post Fire Landscape from, I believe it's from 8 to 2. So I'm going to be navigating all of those things on that day and try to get on. And then on the 3rd, you had all of those. And on the 4th, I also will be on my common grounds. I also will be having the budget folks wanted to come to my meeting on the common grounds. I don't have a location yet. I'm waiting to hear back. We might actually be able to host it in a church, so I'm trying to get that location nailed down. But it will be the budget team had asked to come and speak at that, I think. And Michelle Bird would have those details. So thanks. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is our consent agenda. So I'll read through that. It's fairly short today. We have 2 agreements on the consent agenda. The first one is a professional services agreement for a sheriff's office command vehicle. Under this contract, the vendor will build and deliver to the county a durable 4x4 command vehicle. Total dollar amount on this is $488,575. Our second item is an intergovernmental agreement regarding cooperation on managing urban development. This intergovernmental agreement is between Larimer County and the town of Timnath. The intergovernmental agreement outlines a framework for cooperating on urban development in the Timnath Growth Management Area. The agreement establishes policies for joint planning, managing urban growth, and ensuring that development is annexed by the town as soon as possible. The agreement will begin on today, September 23rd, 2025, and will be effective for a period of 10 years. After the 10-year period, the agreement will expire unless it's renewed by both parties. We have 1 letter of support, the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA relocation letter of support. Folks may have heard that the USDA is considering relocating regionally in Fort Collins. So we are requesting that the board support for the potential relocation of the USDA personnel and functions to northern Colorado. This move could greatly strengthen the agricultural community, diversify the economic base, excuse me, and benefit multiple industries. Next, we have liquor licenses. We have 2 liquor licenses. The first is a renewal for Hacienda Real outside of Fort Collins, and that's a hotel and restaurant license. And then a special event liquor license permit, 6% for the Lederhosen Fun Run from the Red Feather Lakes Foundation in Red Feather Lakes, Colorado, 6%. So not only on this one do you get to run and get a beer, but you also get to wear your Lederhosen. So tons of fun. Next, we have miscellaneous items. We have our first is appointing the 2026 CCI Legislative Priority Voting Member. That's for Colorado Counties Incorporated. That's an organization an advocacy organization that we belong to. We are appointing Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally as the voting member for the Colorado Counties Incorporated Legislative Priority Process, and I will be serving as the alternate. And then we have a warranty memorandum for Gregory Cove Planned Land Division 21 Land 126. This is approval of a memorandum between the Board of County Commissioners and K&M Company LLLP, a limited liability partnership, and Gregory Cove Homeowners Association. The agreement commences on August 20th and expires on August 20th, 2027. And then finally, under resolutions, we have a Colorado Parks and Wildlife grant resolution for Larimer County for the 2026 for the Chimney Hollow Trail construction project. So very exciting. This is requesting approval to apply to Colorado Parks and Wildlife for their 2026 non-motorized trail grant, requesting up to $250,000 to complete construction of up to 5 miles of natural surface trails at a new open space, which is Chimney Hollow Open Space. And so that's exciting as well. So that is everything for the consent agenda. Would either commissioner want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing not, I will ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make the motion on this item.
Certainly, Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda for the week of September 23rd, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. So we will move on to our discussion items. And our first discussion item is a proclamation honoring Larimer County co-responders and behavioral health crisis clinicians. And this was submitted by Sergeant Robert Cook. And I don't know. Okay, yep. I'm not wearing my glasses today, so I think people are helping me out a lot, which I appreciate very much. Sergeant, did you want to come up and talk about this item, or how do we usually do that? Is that?
Sergeant Cook, you can come on up, and I know this is something that's near and dear to your heart. I believe you are the one who provided the first verbiage for us to consider for this kind of proclamation, and we were one of the early folks to proclaim this kind of thing in support of our co-responders and our counselors. So I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Thanks, County Manager Volker. Madam Chair, County Commissioners, guests, certainly like to thank the Board of County Commissioners for this important recognition of the vitally important work that our co-responder unit does on a daily basis in saving lives, working with our community partners, and making a positive impact in the community. I don't know. I think usually you guys or someone will read it. I don't know if you want me to read it, I can read it, or if one of you will read it. But I also wanted to recognize part of our team that's here today. We have Deputy Colton Sanders, who is our Youth Crisis Response Team deputy assigned to Thompson School District. And he works with two clinicians that work out of the Thompson School District. We have Deputy Kevin Kingston, who is one of our co-responder deputies who works day shift. Obviously, we have our unit lieutenant, which is Lieutenant Jeff Van Hook. And last but not least, of course, is our sheriff, Sheriff John Fan, who, without his support, this would not be a possible venture to continue with. So I just want to say thank you for the support. Thank you for recognizing our unit, and thank you for recognizing the important work that our co-responder and crisis clinicians do. Oh, and I'm remiss, I forgot about Director of Behavioral Health Services for Larimer County, Amy Martones. So we appreciate you being here as well, Amy.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate the work that you do, and we're happy to acknowledge you today. I think we'll have Commissioner Kafalis read the proclamation, but are there any questions for Sergeant Cook before we let him sit down and do that?
Don't have any questions, just hope to be able to make a couple of comments of appreciation.
Sure, of course.
And that's what I would do as well.
Okay, so
Would it also be possible if we can do that, take a short break to take a photograph?
we will definitely do that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So we'll read through the proclamation, make the motion. We'll have the commissioners make a few comments acknowledging the work that you do, and then we'll pause and we'll take a photo.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Kafalis.
Yes, thank you all. Proclamation honoring Larimer County co-responders and behavioral health crisis clinicians. Whereas Larimer County is committed to providing support for those facing behavioral health issues in our community, and whereas behavioral health describes the emotions and behaviors that affect an individual's overall well-being, including mental health disorders and substance use. And whereas the National Institute of Mental Health estimates that more than 1 in 5 U.S. adults live with a mental illness, and whereas the widespread opioid use and other controlled substances has plagued communities across the nation and here in Larimer County for many years, with over 100,000 deaths nationwide due to overdoses in 2023. Whereas the National Institute of Health reported in May 2025 that overdose deaths had decreased nationwide in 2024 by 27%, indicating that local efforts, as described above, have had a positive impact on those struggling with substance use disorder. Whereas the many issues created by mental illness, substance abuse, and addiction are community problems not limited to law enforcement, fire services, and emergency medical staff, and whereas the co-responder model pairs law enforcement and behavioral health professionals to intervene and respond to behavioral health related calls for service, and these teams utilize the combined expertise of law enforcement and behavioral health professionals to de-escalate situations and help link individuals experiencing behavioral health issues to appropriate resources in their communities, including counseling, access to medications, medical assisted treatment for alcohol and drug dependency, access to housing, food, necessities, and other similar resources. And whereas the Larimer County Sheriff's Office has had a co-responder unit comprised of specially selected and trained deputy sheriffs and clinicians from Summit Stone Health Partners since 2018, and whereas this unit has responded to thousands of emergency and non-emergency calls for service, provided crisis intervention, conducted important follow-up, developed hundreds of safety plans, helped countless people get connected with the resources they need for healthier living, including access to behavioral health and other community resource services. And whereas those struggling with substance use disorders in Larimer County now have additional resources due to increased awareness and education, harm reduction efforts, as well as additional funding of the many resources those struggling with substance use disorder need, have had a positive impact on reduction of overdose deaths and more intervention and treatment options in Larimer County. There are quite a few run-on sentences here. Bear with me, please. Through funding and support from the Larimer County Board of Commissioners, the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, the Larimer County Regional Opioid Abatement Council, and funding from Larimer County Behavioral Health Services, the Larimer County Sheriff Co-Responder Unit has been able to expand by adding additional deputies and clinicians. This has created more crisis intervention responses and direct rapid access to treatment and care when necessary, with an increase in jail diversion and through the continued collaboration with Summit Stone Health Partners and Longview Treatment Center, specifically a reduction in emergency room visits when not necessary. Whereas, we're almost there, folks. Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate you. Whereas these first responders have shown exceptional commitment, dedication, leadership, and passion to help those in need, reinforcing how vital their work is to the communities of Larimer County, and whereas other local law enforcement agencies, including Fort Collins Police Services, Loveland Police Services, Colorado State University Police Department, Estes Park Police Department, and Johnstown Police Department, as well as the Thompson School District, the Thompson Valley Ambulance Service, have also realized the need for effective co-response and have initiated co-responder programs within their organizations, which has also contributed to the overall success of co-response programs within and around Larimer County. Now, therefore, we, the Board of County Commissioners for Larimer County, do hereby proclaim the week of September 14th through the September 20th, 2025, as Larimer County Co-Responders and Crisis Clinicians Recognition Week, in unison with the Colorado Co-Responder Alliance and the International Co-Responder Alliance. We wish to express our appreciation and gratitude for the co-responders and behavioral health clinicians working in Larimer County who routinely respond to crisis situations, sometimes putting themselves in harm's way to ensure the best possible outcomes for the community. We call upon Larimer County residents to recognize, honor, and give thanks to these amazing professionals for their daily service through the great work they do to assist those in need.
Thank you, Commissioner. Would you like to make the motion then, and we can make some
Oh, yes,
comments?
the motion. Thank you. I move to approve the proclamation declaring the week of September 14th to September 20th, 2025 as Larimer County Co-Responders and Crisis Clinicians Week.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table, and we'll open for further discussion. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just start by saying I feel like a very lucky commissioner today. All three of these proclamations are near and dear to my heart in many ways, and really passionate about the work on all of them, especially, all of them. I really could not pick a favorite today, but I wanted to really call out the co-responder program. First, I want to just thank Sergeant Cook for bringing this forward. I think this is our second year for this third. Thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership, Sergeant Cook. I know you serve on the Colorado Co-Responder Alliance in that leadership, and also, I believe, also in the International Co-Responder Alliance. So I know your work has been steady there and really bringing this to fruition to have a robust program that's starting to be really recognized across the state. I know we missed being the first in the country for our proclamation by 2 days or 2 weeks, or we were very close to being 2 days. And 3 years ago, and then also we were the first in the country to have a state proclamation that Governor Polis very graciously did for us, and so I'm really grateful to have those both done. I think they're really important to help folks understand the importance of this program. I want to thank Lieutenant Lan Hook and Sheriff Fan for supporting these really important programs, and thank you to the deputies. I've gotten to ride along and see this. I've been watching this since about 2021 when I did some ride-alongs. I appreciate that opportunity, and I have to say it's just really inspiring to see the work that you do. It's nice to be boots on the ground, just watching how you work and how you how you put your lives in danger every day. But I see that steadfast service to helping others in crisis and need, and taking care of the community, because it's someone in crisis, everyone around them is unsafe as well, and we want to take care of everyone. I really wanted to go back and make a comment about some of the words in this proclamation that really resonate for me, and I wanted to just really read this again, because I do think this is very true, because serving on the Regional Opioid Abatement Council, I've gotten to see the data and your passion about this program and how much work it's done. But when we say about the first responders have shown exceptional commitment, dedication, leadership, and passion to help those in need, and reinforcing how vital their work is to the communities of Larimer County. That is a really powerful statement, and I believe that with my whole heart. Also, I wanted to share about the other comment about appreciation of the co-responders and behavioral health clinicians working in Larimer County who routinely respond to these crisis situations, sometimes putting themselves in harm's way to ensure the best possible outcomes for the community. I've seen that firsthand more than once, more than a few times. It's really powerful work. And I also wanted to say the data shows that really this is important work, because we're de-escalating and doing great assessments, connecting folks to services, getting warm handoffs. And also, we know the data shows from your program and the work done in here in Larimer County by all of you and the clinicians that you partner with, that less than 2% of those folks you interact with end up going deeper into the system, into the criminal justice system, or being incarceration. Instead, they're getting connected to services and being helped out of a very crisis situation. That also helps their families feel like they have someone who's helping them navigate all of that. And we haven't had that before. And this is really what I think is a powerful collaboration and partnership in our community to use especially trained law enforcement that can help de-escalate folks and connect them with with these clinicians who are partnered with you and specially trained, and then get them over to services like its Longview acute care system and to other systems who can help people. Because we don't want to punish people who are in crisis. We want them to feel like there is hope and healing in a path forward to help them. They're having their worst day, and I know you all try to make sure their worst day doesn't get worse. So thank you for that. And I'm just, I really believe in the work that you do. I happen to be able to run into some behavioral health clinicians who are out kind of just hanging out and supporting each other. And I just happened to walk in and picking up some takeout and got a chance to sit down and talk with them. And they were all supporting each other and talking about the work and how they really felt that their week had really saved some lives. And I think that's a powerful statement. That's what you do every day. And I know your teams have actually administered naloxone or Narcan, as we know, and you've actually saved people's lives out on the streets. So just really proud of the work you do, proud of the service and the care that you have put into this to make sure that we're taking care of folks in appropriate and best practice ways. And really proud of this proclamation today. And thank you all for being here today. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cavallis.
Yes, I'll just simply say that, this work that we all do together is fundamentally, it's based on relationships. And I'm very grateful for the relationships that we've developed over the years, certainly through the co-responder program and in other ways. I've gained a lot of different perspective on law enforcement folks and the work that you do, and how important it is, and how you folks go above and beyond the call of duty. And when we can combine your expertise and your caring with the expertise and caring of our behavioral health folks that are in Director Martonis' shop, I think that's, and the Summit Stone Health Partners, of course, that's a good combination. So I'm grateful for the friendships and relationships with Lieutenant Van Hook, Sergeant Cook, and of course our sheriff back there, and all the wonderful deputies. And, well, yes, I'm hoping that Melissa is listening. I would like to schedule a ride-along sometime before I move on to wherever it is I'm moving on to. But I'm hoping this year, before the end of the year perhaps, I would enjoy reaching out to the sheriff's office folks to learn and go for a ride-along. Thank you.
Don't get worried, folks. He's only moving on to retirement. So it sounded darker. It sounded deeper than that, but it's okay. Sorry. All kidding aside, I actually would like to do that as well. I just want to really thank you all for the work that you do. It's really important. Our community has asked for a different way to police, especially in circumstances like this, and you all responded. You co-responded. And so we are, and you, I think you all also wanted to be able to deal with situations which were somewhat unfamiliar, right? They're not typical policing situations. They don't use the same skill set as sort of a normal kind of police situation. And so this is such a great model to be able to react in an appropriate way to a situation that's a little more unusual than your typical situation. I'm sure you don't have any typical days, to be honest, but the fact that we were working together as a community to do this work, and that we're trying to take care of people. And as Commissioner Shattuck McNally said, to try to prevent sort of some of these situations to lead to incarceration, right? I mean, we need to get people the resources they need, and ultimately keep our community safe. But that looks different ways in different spaces. And so I appreciate that you understand those nuances, that you understand that not everybody maybe needs to go to jail. Some people just need help. Some people need substance use. Support for substance use disorders. Some people need some mental health care, but that is what our community wants, and I ultimately think that's what we all want, right? Is to just take care of people and keep our community safe. So, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for doing this really, really important work. It's truly valued, and I thank you for the sheriff to understand that, and for the leadership, Amy and the sheriff, to be here to understand that and support that work in our community. Really appreciate the fact that we live in a community where that's valued and understood. Now, I don't think every community has that, and so we're grateful for the work that you do. With that, we still have a motion on the table, so let's vote on that, and then we'll stop for that photo.
If I might just add real quick, the sheriff is hiding behind everyone in the back, but I wanted to thank him as well. I know he has some connections to this and I appreciate his leadership, and I know that he appreciates the importance of this work, and I want to just thank him because it does take all of us and all the leaders to come together. This has been, especially at this time with all of the changes that we have, this is to be leading edge with this kind of program in our state and our community. It's pretty special, and I wanted to make sure I acknowledged him as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yep, that's why I acknowledged him as well. And so with that, we have a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0, and we'll stop for that photo op. All right, we are back with our next item on our agenda, which is also a proclamation, and this time is a joint proclamation designating September 2025 as Suicide Prevention Month in Larimer County. And this was submitted by Tom Gonzalez, Director of Health and Environment, who's coming up to talk to us about this proclamation. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you, and good morning, Commissioners. Tom Gonzalez, Public Health Director. We'll stick with the theme on mental health promotion. So, on behalf of the Larimer County Board of Health and the Department of Health and Environment, I would like to thank you for supporting this joint proclamation to recognize September as Suicide Prevention Month in Larimer County. You know, preventing suicide must be a community effort. We've talked about relationships and community, as no one agency or no one group can do this work alone. With me today, we have Dr. Jared Olson, who's our senior population epidemiologist. He knows all the data. Kim Muller with Alliance for Suicide Prevention, who is unable to attend with us today, unfortunately, but I do have some comments that she provided. Silent Wellington with the Yarrow Collective, and Amy Martonis with our Larimer County Behavioral Health Services. I think it's important to know that this proclamation emphasizes that suicide is preventable. Public health spends much of its time upstream in what we call prevention, so certainly this links to much of our work. And in fact, most of those complex factors like mental health challenges, substance misuse, and access to lethal means often play a role. And we want to remind our residents that resources are available. A key protective factor against suicide is strong social support and community connection. That is why one of our current Larimer County Community Health Improvement Plan priority areas focuses on increasing social support for vulnerable populations, including older adults, youth, families, communities of color, LGBT individuals, our veterans, and persons living with disabilities. Our commitment to this work towards zero lives lost is what our goal is by suicide in Larimer County. Now I'll turn it over to Dr. Jared Olson to briefly share some of the data we have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Jared Olson, Senior Population Epidemiologist. I do want to just touch briefly on the fact that and acknowledge that we did have a lower number of suicide deaths, as you know, in 2023. But unfortunately, this year has been a challenging year where we've returned to a level that we've seen more recently in the last few years. And so while these challenges and tragedies of 2024 are far greater than what we work for and what we hope for when we're engaged in suicide prevention work, those numbers are just part of the overall picture in Larimer County. So we know that small numbers, such as suicide deaths, are not always stable year to year, and that the small number problem can kind of obscure overall trends. Do we have the next slide? Great. So we need to be aware of and acknowledge our county population continues to grow with our communities. And if we adjust for that population and try to smooth the trend with some multi-year averages, we can see some evidence of the progress we've made as well as the work that we have still to do. If we take a look at the screen here, you can see that from 2013 until 2020, the Larimer County age-adjusted 3-year average for suicide deaths is that higher than that of Colorado overall. However, in 2021, we see a reversal of that trend and some significant progress. That's certainly a credit to all the efforts of our community partners and all our other organizations, governmental and otherwise, in our county. I'll hand it over to Silent from the Yarrow Collective.
Thank you. Welcome, Silent.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you for making this proclamation and all the work that you three do and everyone in this room does to prevent suicide in our community. Working in suicide prevention has brought me to really deep and existential places, walking alongside folks who, as we explore what's worth living for, At Yarrow Collective, we run a lot of alternatives to suicide groups where we explore that together with folks who are having thoughts of suicide. And I really want to emphasize some of what Dr. Olson and Kim Mueller has said, that suicide prevention is a whole community effort, and it takes every single one of us to find those connection points and support our loved ones in exploring those deep questions. And to emphasize some of the importance of social connections and community connections in the work of suicide prevention, I wanted to share a quote from one of our participants at our Alternatives to Suicide groups. They wrote to us, "We share our experiences, we share our emotions, our emotional responses, we share really vulnerable things, our fears. Going to this group has sparked me to think really deeply about what's going on in my life and has given me insights about my journey. It's helped me feel like I can contribute to other people's healing just by sharing my own experience. By hearing other people, you feel so much less alone, being listened to and seen and heard by people who have similar thoughts of suicidality. In therapy, I learn skills, and in group, I learn how to love and be loved." So thank you for this proclamation. I think a number of you have seen this already, but I do have little handouts. Maybe just Commissioner Stevens haven't, so I'll pass some things around if anyone wants more information about the work that we do at Yarrow Collective.
Wonderful, thank you. I guess you can hand them to Sarah over there, and she can make sure that we get those. Thank you, Silent. Sorry to confuse you.
And I'd like to read the following on behalf of Kim Mueller, our Director of the Alliance for Suicide Prevention of Larimer County, who unfortunately was unable to be with us today. She writes, "The Alliance for Suicide Prevention of Larimer County, who is honored to serve this community in a shared effort to prevent suicide and bring hope, healing, and joy to those around us. We know that even one lost life to suicide is too many. That is why we remain dedicated to providing free services to our community, reaching more than 13,000 community members each year. The work is only possible because of the commitments of so many of our county commissioners, our school, our law enforcement, our health department, the coroner's office, our neighbors, our friends, and our family members. Together, we create spaces to share stories of both joy and pain, to bear witness to one another's struggles, and to extend a hand when somebody needs it most. We accept this proclamation with deep gratitude and with a renewed commitment to continue building a community where everyone is valued, supported, and given the chance to thrive." Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Director. Any questions for Tom as we move on? No, maybe not. All right. Well, we will read through the proclamation and then make the motion. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your work.
So, Madam Chair, after I read the proclamation motion, I'll go ahead and make some comments, and we can just roll from there. Is that okay?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Very honored to read this proclamation today. A joint proclamation between the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County and Larimer County Board of Health, designating September 2025 as Suicide Prevention Month in Larimer County. Whereas the month of September 2025 is National Suicide Prevention Month, a time in which individuals, organizations, and communities around the country join their voices to amplify the message that suicide can be prevented. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County and the Larimer County Board of Health have a joint interest in the prevention of suicide in Larimer County. And whereas the Alliance of Suicide Prevention of Larimer County, the Larimer County Juvenile Gun Safety Coalition, and Larimer County's Department of Community Justice Alternatives and Behavioral Health Services work to prevent suicide in Larimer County. And whereas the Alliance for Suicide Prevention of Larimer County, the Larimer County Juvenile Gun Safety Coalition, Larimer County's Departments of Community Justice Alternatives and Behavioral Health Services, and the county commissioners, I want to add, along with many other organizations, work together to prevent suicide in Larimer County. And whereas many people in Larimer County are faced with stressful life events, prolonged stress, substance abuse disorders, and mental health conditions. And whereas good mental health is a critical part of overall health and is essential at every stage of life. Whereas having access to lethal means such as firearms increases the risk of suicide, and residents can help by keeping firearms safely stored and locked. Whereas knowing the signs of suicide and finding the words to communicate with someone, in addition to reaching out to local resources, can prevent a suicide. And all residents of Larimer County have access to free suicide prevention training so that they are equipped with the knowledge of the signs of suicide in the appropriate language to communicate with someone, and the resources to refer that person to so that their lives are saved. And whereas grief following a suicide is often a complex and overwhelming experience, and support is available. My apologies. And whereas the 2024 through 2029 Larimer County Community Health Improvement Plan prioritizes increasing the social support and connection for older adults, youth, families, communities of colors, LGBTQIA veterans, and persons living with disabilities, with an emphasis on equity. Whereas since 2014, when the suicide rates peaked in the county and the rate of suicide fatality has decreased incrementally over time, while the collaborative efforts of many organizations have worked to prevent suicide. And whereas all Larimer County residents are urged to play a role in suicide prevention and promoting mental health and wellness as we strive towards zero suicides. And whereas September is recognized across the United States as suicide prevention, which provides the opportunity to educate the community about warning signs of suicide and how to reach out and connect those experiencing an emotional crisis or loss. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of Health, the Larimer County Board of Health, and all the members of the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners that September 2025 be declared Suicide Prevention Month in Larimer County, done this 18th day of September 2025 in Fort Collins, Colorado, by the Larimer County Board of Health. Dated this 23rd day of September 2025 in Fort Collins, Colorado, by the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners. Madam Chair, I move to approve the joint proclamation declaring September 2025 as Suicide Prevention Month. And I'll go ahead and make my comments and pull myself together here.
We can start with Commissioner Kavalis.
All right, Madam Chair, it's better I do real quick. My apologies, everybody. I was thinking about my family member. This is the over a decade anniversary this week of their death. And so I was thinking about the words of this proclamation, that there is a really etched life, those numbers that Dr. Olson showed on the screen. We've had this increase in suicide deaths, but each of those numbers really represents profound social, emotional, and economic consequences that deeply affect families, friends, workplaces, and entire communities throughout the whole world, not only here statewide or national, but around the world. It's also World Suicide Prevention Month and Week. And I think that the work that we do, even though the numbers have increased, must continue. Because even after decades, families and friends are still, like me, still going through so much pain. I don't think, sometimes I think back to all these situations. My first day of my training when I volunteered as an EMT all those years ago was attempted suicide of one of the kids I was coaching, which I didn't know. So this has been a long pathway, seeing youth in pain. So this is really important work. And I hope that we all continue to fight the stigma work to continue this work so families don't have to endure this long lasting pain. Um, I want to thank the Yarrow Collective for their work for those who feel um, marginalized and maybe not feeling like they have a strong voice. And congratulations on your Fight the Stigma Award. Your work is really powerful. And thanks for being here along with the Alliance for Suicide Prevention. And I want to thank Dr. Gerald Orson for his continued work for us to look at the data and look at the trends and how we can dig in deeper and get upstream. And Dr. Amy Martonis, or Director Martonis, I just really hold you in high regard, and I know you're going to help us drill down even deeper. And I just want to thank you all for helping us not give up and keep that beacon of hope alive for all families and everyone. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kavalis.
Thank you. To begin with, just to reaffirm one of the statements that Commissioner Shattuck McNally made, and that is this is really important work, and we're all we're all in this together, doing this work together. I think it goes without saying, it's been expressed that all of us, one way or the other, either directly or indirectly, have been touched by folks who have taken their lives or attempted to take their lives. It's a very difficult thing. We've all had family members, friends, connections. So I wanted to state that. I also wanted to express appreciation to our Larimer County Department of Health and Environment and public health folks, and Tom and your team over here, and the Board of Health, of course, to raise this issue, raise the awareness, and continue to make progress on addressing suicide in our community, which I believe we are making progress. There was mention of the Alliance for Suicide Prevention. I think I'll make a quick advertisement that I believe their Lifesaver Gala is up on September 30th. And so that's something that folks might want to check out, raising funds for a really important community-based organization. I also want to mention that one of the whereases in the proclamation called out different sectors of our community, and one sector that wasn't mentioned, I suppose, is the agricultural sector, farmers and ranchers. They deal with a lot of challenges, and I know that we are recognizing the importance of reaching out to rural areas and making sure that folks have those supports. I don't have it with me, but somewhere I received a flyer about a training that was coming up, two trainings that were, I don't know if it was the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union or others that are putting on these trainings to help with the different basic trainings to, for folks to be aware and how to respond to a situation where there are concerns. So I think it's important to call out all the different sectors, and even, veterans, of course, are always at risk. And I guess I'll do another advertisement. And I think most folks know that the one number to call is 988. And if you press 1, that's specifically to folks who have experience dealing with veterans issues. So I think that's all I have to say. I appreciate everyone and the work, and Tom and you all. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. County Manager, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I guess I'll say we know this is an issue in our community, and I'm very grateful that the voters supported the behavioral health sales tax. I think, I don't know if you can draw a straight line to the 2021 decline, but we are now lower than the state average, and although it's not zero, we are seeing improvement, we are seeing support for our community, and we are reducing stigma, we hope. And we believe through some surveys that we've done that is the case. And this is amazing work that is never done. Until the number is zero and stays zero, it'll be important to have these proclamations where we remind folks to talk about this, to show compassion. We do know that conversation saves lives, and if that's what comes from this reminder today, please go about and have conversations with people. Talking about it does not give them the idea, but it opens the door for them to receive treatment and to receive your compassion. So again, you did mention the 988 number. I'll just encourage people again that that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is a lifeline sometimes, and it is something that is important. Tom, thank you for bringing this forward and for the Board of Health for adopting this as well.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I'll just say that really thank you for bringing this forward. The work that we're doing in our community is really important. Clearly, this is something that's affected many of us. I mean, and I think that that's why when we went to do the tax, these conversations resonated with people because we all have friends or family members, loved ones that have either taken their lives or have contemplated that. And I like the message that we're all responsible. I took the training. I don't know if it's still available. QPR, is that what it's called? That was really, I felt at least somewhat empowered to have those important conversations with friends and family. So I would encourage people to kind of seek that out if you're struggling with what to say or how to say it. I think that that's a really important piece that we can all do. It doesn't take a lot of time. I think it was a 90-minute class or maybe even less, and we'll give you the sort of the tools to understand how to talk about, because these are difficult things and we're not all equipped. And I think the refer part is we're not necessarily equipped, and that, there are professionals, and Asylum was talking about really groups that can dig deep into some of those existential questions that many folks have. And we're not living in the easiest of times. I think that we understand that there are struggles with things that like affordable housing and childcare costs, how to survive in in an economy that doesn't necessarily work for everyone as well. And so there are a lot of things that we on the dais can help with too, that indirectly helps people feel more stable in their lives. So when I say we all need to work on it, we all need to work on it, and I include myself. So thank you again for the work, and thank you for reminding us that we still have a lot of work to do, but that we're committed as a community to doing that work together. Really important message. So with that, we still have a motion on the table. Any further discussion before we vote? All in favor say aye. Aye. That motion passes 3-0. We'll stop and take a photo with these proclamations, and then we'll let everyone be on their way. Thank you. All right, we are back and we're going to switch gears a little bit. We have our clerk and recorder, Tina Harris, here, and she is going to provide us with a 2025 election update. Yes, we do have an election this year, and she will let us know all the details.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure if this is someone, so I'm going to leave it right here. Looks like something. Okay. Good morning. I'm Tina Harris. I'm your Larimer County Clerk and Recorder, and there's a lot of things on this agenda related to the clerk's office today. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me, and I want to share with you some of the fun and exciting things that are going on in the clerk's office. Not only am I going to give you an update, but I'm going to share some new innovations that are taking place in our office currently. So this is really about the elections update. We are gearing up for the November 4th, 2025 coordinated elections. So if you didn't know, we have elections every year. This year, we're excited to only have one. However, this one is new for us, this and the city of Fort Collins. Individuals or voters who live inside the city limits of Fort Collins will see something new and different on their ballot this year, and it's ranked voting. And it'll be used for 3 of the 4 contests that they have. The mayoral race, there's actually 7 candidates for the mayoral race. City Council District 1, there's 3 candidates. And City Council District 3, there are 3 candidates. In order for it to qualify as a ranked voting, there has to be 3 or more candidates. So the City Council District 5 only has 2 candidates, so it's going to be your standard plurality contest. So the thing that I want to really communicate is that, yes, this is new to our ballot, but when you receive your ballot packet, there are going to be detailed instructions on how to rank those, how to rank your votes. And then also there will be step-by-step instructions on the ballot as well. So don't panic. It'll be all right. We do have a sample ballot, which is posted online at vote.larimer.gov. I encourage everyone to go out and take a look at that now to prepare yourselves for your packet, to really familiarize yourself with what that layout is going to look like. We also have an FAQ out there for ranked voting. So there are a lot of questions. The city and the county work together to create this FAQ. So you'll find the same information on the city's website as well. And if you have additional questions that FAQ does not cover, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office, because we're happy to help and walk you through that process. Some key dates to keep in your back pocket. October 10th, ballots will be mailed to all registered active eligible voters. And so that is also the same day that our ballot boxes will open. On October 27th, our first vote centers will be open. And we will have 5 vote centers open for this election. That's 2 more than what law requires us to have. And 4 of those will be open on November 1st on a Saturday from 9 to 1, which will be convenient for those who work throughout the week and they want to vote in person. And then we have our 2-day site, which is at Front Range Community College. And that one opens on November 3rd, which is a Monday, and then on Election Day. And as a reminder, all ballots need to be in to us by 7 p.m. for those votes to count. Let's see. If you have any questions about locations of the vote centers or drop boxes, hours of operation, please visit our website, because there's more information about that, detailed information. It will also be in your ballot packet. It'll be in there as well. And you can visit our site at vote.larimer.gov, and all that information is out there for you. Another update I want to provide is we've moved 2 of our 24-hour drop boxes, our ballot drop boxes. The first one was in Timnath. We moved that last year. It was in a location that was not heavily visited. It was out at Public Works. And so Timnath reached out to us and asked if we could move it to a more centralized location, which we were happy to accommodate. And so now it's at the Timnath Town Center, which is right there in the middle of Timnath, and it gets visited more often than Public Works. The other location that we moved is the one here at 200 West Oak. That most of you will know that understand or know that it was a walk-up site, and now we've moved it across the parking lot for a drive-up site. And one of the reasons that we did that, or the biggest reason, is that ballot box is our busiest ballot box. It's the one that's the most everybody drops there. So just in the 2024 general election, 20,000 ballots were dropped at that location. 3,500 of them were on election day itself. So very high traffic area, whether it's by car, bike, or foot, and it really created a safety and accessibility concerns for us. We were really concerned about individuals visiting that box. So we relocated it across the parking lot, and now it is a drive up. You can also access it from behind on the other side as well. So if somebody was walking up, they could drop their ballot on the other side, or they could even ride their bike up there and drop it. And it still meets all the the security standards. So starting October 10th, it will be under 24/7 surveillance. And it's monitored. That surveillance is monitored for outages, and we also review that content on a regular basis. So those are just a few of the updates that are happening around elections. Now, one of the innovative things that we've done, and this is one of the things that I've been wanting to share with everybody for about a year now, we've been working on it for a little over a year, is we've introduced a new election stats data dashboard, and it went live yesterday on our website. And so this election stats is a comprehensive, accessible, and centralized database for accessing historical elections data. And so the platform includes over 1,500 data points on contests, ballot measures, and voter statistics going all the way back to the year 2000. And so results for contests and ballot measures are broken out by district and precinct. And so data is displayed in interactive maps and easy to read charts. Because in the past, the only way to access the data previously was through manually reading PDFs. We all love those. Election Stats creates a more dynamic, searchable, and user-friendly way to access the information. And really, this platform reflects the department's commitment to transparency and integrity in the election process. So I encourage everybody to go check it out. It can be found on election stats at larimer.gov. So go check that out. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so that's really all I have for elections.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Any questions for Tina? Commissioner Kafalis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Clerk Harris. One question I have is, for those who choose to mail their mail-in ballots here or to the clerk and recorder's office, what is the deadline after which it's recommended that you deliver them in person rather than putting them in the mail to make sure that they get here by 7 o'clock on election night?
That's a great question. Anything after October 27th, I would encourage a drop box or vote in person or drop it at a vote center, your ballot.
October 27th?
October 27th, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Questions, Commissioner?
Thank you, Madam Clerk and Recorder. I am pulled up the website. That's pretty cool. Some interesting. I'm going to be, I'm a data nerd, so it's going to be interesting to
Great.
explore all of that. I had a question. I know we're not doing it this year, but will you be continuing the contest for the sticker design? I actually have one at home on my computer. I'm wondering how that looks. And
I see right there too.
yeah,
It's on there too.
yeah. There it is. So
Yes.
yeah, okay.
We will be continuing that. We will do it next year. So at the beginning of 2026, we will do that again. We'll have another. We're going to use that sticker 2 elections in a row.
Great.
So,
Thank you. That's helpful. That's great to know. And thank you for continuing to innovate and to bring transparency and data to the public so they can understand the elections. And also, I think it's helpful for candidates and folks who help just to understand kind of the trends and what our community is. And appreciate you thinking about access and Timnath and making sure that box is appropriately placed. That was pretty. Amazing partnership and collaboration there, and I appreciate your updates today. Thanks for being here.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. As someone who's looked things up on those PDFs before, including my own results, I think it's great to be able to look at those, and so I think that is really great data to share with the community. Thank you for your transparency around that. And you guys have, with ranked voting is a little challenging this year. Do you expect returns to come in any later because of that, or it should be pretty smooth? And I don't know if you have any anticipation around that.
I anticipate that this is going to be something people are going to be interested in. I don't know. I'm hoping that the turnout will be greater than it usually is in a coordinated election. We have planned for the worst and we're hoping for the best. So what I would say to that is when we're out in the community speaking, we're encouraging everyone to start researching now so that when they do get their ballots in hand, not to wait till the last minute.
Great. And then if in other communities who've used it, has sort of the curing process been different? Like, I know that people, do you see more mistakes or kind of confusion around it? Have other communities seen that, or it generally runs pretty smoothly?
So Boulder County was the first county to conduct a ranked voting, and they did it in 2023. And they really planned for worst case scenario, and they found that it was pretty smoothly. There were not any, there were no errors. The adjudication, we have a really robust adjudication process for folks that may do a stray mark on their ballot or whatever the case may be. So I don't anticipate that there's going to be any errors. We'll be reporting those results at the same time we report any of our other results. So we hope to have results posted to our website, including ranked voting, soon after 7 p.m. at 9 and it's 8 and then at 11, 9 and 11. Whatever our regular schedule is. And we will be using RCViz. It's a dynamic platform that lets you drill down into the rounds and candidates so you can see how those votes came in and how they were distributed.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. Well, I wish you all the best with that. And remind folks that open your ballot early, and if you're confused, please call your office and or go online and try to familiarize yourself so you're not kind of right before 7 o'clock on that Tuesday trying to figure out what you need to do. So
running to a ballot box with your hair on fire.
That's right. That's right. No hair on fire.
No hair on fire.
Well, thank you very much for being here, and we appreciate that. And let us know if you want to come back. You're always welcome as our guest.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we will move on to our next agenda item, which is also through the clerk's office. This item is approval of the Board of Equalization referee recommendations. And it was submitted by Elizabeth Carter, who's here with, okay. Oh, yep. Come on back.
just like I said, it was all clerks today. A lot of clerk information. It's all about the clerk today. One of the things that I wanted to share with the board is another innovation, a great thing that we've done specifically for BOE, is that this year we launched the Larimer County CBOE Appeals Portal. Now, I've tried to say that fast 3 times and it does not work, so I had to slow that down a little bit. It is a new online system that allows petitioners to schedule their hearings themselves. So I wanted to give you an update on this before I turn it over to Elizabeth to report out on BOE. The project was a true multi-departmental collaboration between the assessor's office, IT, and our office, the clerk's office, and the support of County Manager Volker and Assistant County Manager Cadridge, and the Board of County Commissioners. That was critical in moving this project forward. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't thank you enough. A special thank you also goes out to the IT director, Mark Pfaffinger, and his team, in particular, Sarah Maloko. I'm going to try to say her name properly, and Jen Reinman, who met with my staff twice a week for months to ensure that this rollout was successful. And their dedication and problem solving and their positive approach, that was really essential to the success of the project. The benefits of the online portal is the convenience for petitioners. So scheduling, they're able to schedule hearings online at a preferred time without needing to come into our office, which is huge. Accessibility, especially helpful for property owners living outside of Larimer County or in rural areas, which is, one of the concerns that we had in 2023. Folks were having a hard time getting here to even just schedule their appointment. Efficiency for staff, near real-time access to hearing information for the assessor's office, and streamlined workflows for all offices. And reduced foot traffic and paper reliance, so less congestion in the clerk's office in this building overall. And the hearings and files are handled electronically now and no longer have to have these stacks and stacks of paper. And then transparency and accountability. So all files have automatic date and time stamps for communication tracking, which is key to this process. So over 50% of appeals escalated to BOE this year, and we had 1,103 petitions scheduled online. That's a success story for us. Initial feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with many of the petitioners really appreciated the flexibility and the ease of use of the portal. And then we are grateful for the property owners for trusting us and their patience as we rolled this out. That was amazing. And, I have to say that I'm extremely proud to work for Larimer County and the community because this initiative shows that what's possible when county departments work together, right? It really does show. We what we did here was amazing, and we couldn't have done it without the supporting departments. And so that online portal demonstrates our commitment to meeting citizens where they're at, improving their experience with government, and ensuring transparency in the CBOE process. And that's not just for my department, that's for the county as a whole. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Tina. I think that really is remarkable because I think that, delivering that good service to our community, but also for your office to be able to not have to do everything manually and deal with some of that and moving people to, that being able to, be online for their hearings. I think all of that is really, really great. And so I'm glad because I know that time of the year can be stressful, and we all have this strangely different sort of piece in this process, right? And so sort of we hand things over to you, and the assessor hands things over to you, and then we it is a lot of work. It's just a lot of work, and so anything that can can ease that work for you, I think is really important. Any questions for Tina in this
Commissioner,
process?
may I add something
Oh, yeah,
before you
please
all
go
ask
ahead.
questions? I want to give Tina credit as well. So our clerk came to us and said, we have a problem. It's a customer problem and it's a staff problem. And so she recognized both sides of that coin, and was able to kind of articulate to the IT team exactly where the pain points were. And because of that, because we had a really clear problem statement, they were able to help figure out how best to solve it, involving the assessor's office and, of course, our office staff as well. So it is, by statute, set up to be a bit of a mess. And we have figured out how to kind of unwind that ball of yarn, and make it easier for the community. So it really is a kind of a customer-first approach. How do we get this done better? That solves a lot of pain points for you and your staff. So thank you for bringing this forward. You thanked everyone else. You didn't thank yourself. You need a lot of credit for really raising your hand and saying, this is a problem we need to do better.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, County Manager. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and meeting with IT folks every 2 weeks is, to make sure that it worked well. I mean, that's a big commitment to problem solving. So appreciate that. Commissioner Cafalas, did you have a question?
I just had a comment.
Okay, please go ahead.
Well, just to build on what's been stated, thank you for this example of being innovative and efficient. I don't know if this was one of the things that was submitted for the Innovation Awards. If not, you may want to consider that for next year. I think it would be an important contribution. So I also think this is an example of certainly customer service guiding principles, trying to be as smart and efficient as we can be. But also this aligns well with your office, I think, has been sort of leading the pack in regarding budget reductions and figuring out how are we going to address some of the budget needs that we have. And our understanding is that the clerk's office has been really ahead of the game, helping us to balance our budget. So thank you for that. And I think this is a perfect example of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything to add, Commissioner Shadwick-McNown? All right.
All right, so now I'm going to turn this over to Elizabeth, and she is going to share some fun CBOE information.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Tina.
I don't know if mine's as
Welcome.
fun.
Welcome, Elizabeth. We'll try to make it fun.
So, did you want me to go ahead and report, or did you want to make a motion?
I think we can make the motion to convene, and then we can have you do the report, and then we can go ahead and look. So that's, who do we have doing that? Commissioner Cafalas, will you move us into the Board of Equalization?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
I move to convene. Pretty simple. I move to convene as the Board of Equalization.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye. Aye. That motion passes. So we are now convened as the Board of Equalization, and we'll ask Elizabeth to report out to us. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will be here for the next couple weeks to report to you on the referee recommendations for our hearings. So today, this morning, I am going to cover the hearings that took place from September 15th through September 17th. So just the first 3 days of hearings. During that time frame, there were a total of 215 accounts that were heard, and these include real property, mobile homes, business personal property, oil and gas, severed mineral rights, and possessory interest accounts. So there were 192 hearings conducted. Of those, 160 accounts were adjusted. And of that 160 accounts which were adjusted, 53 of those were stipulated, which the petitioner and the assessor's office comes to a mutual agreement. And then 55 accounts were denied. So we're kind of just getting underway. Our referees are next door, continuing to hear hearings, and we're very grateful for the referees that you all appointed for us this year. They're doing, as always, a great job. And I'm happy to try and answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Elizabeth? Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at the the total dollar amounts in terms of values, and I see that there's a reduction of approximately $23 million, which is a 8.58% decrease. How does that compare to last year or past years?
So last year was a non-valuation year, so it's sort of hard to compare those numbers. It's a little like apples and oranges because we get such a smaller volume of petitions at the BOE level. And then again, 2023 was a bit of an anomaly because those numbers were so high compared to most years. One thing I would note about this number, and the assessor's office has noticed this as well, is that in 2025, we are seeing a greater number of appeals for commercial properties. Usually it's residential properties that drive a lot of the petitions, with a smaller, sector being commercial appeals. This year, the number of commercial appeals we're seeing is rivaling what we saw in 2023, but we saw a much higher level of overall petitions in 2023. So I think that's driving some of these numbers because those properties are valued obviously at a much higher rate than your individual home would be.
Great. Thank you for your insights, Elizabeth, and also reminding us that reappraisals occur every 2 years on the odd years. And indeed, if we were to go back to 2023, that was perhaps an understatement regarding an anomaly. And so we'd have to go back to 2021 and if there were ever normal years to compare. But I think your insights are totally spot on. Thank you.
Absolutely. And when we continue to report, we'd be happy to include sort of a comparison for you if that would be helpful to maybe 2021 and 2019.
All right, Commissioner Shattuck McNeil, any questions?
Maybe just a comment. This is really complex work that takes work across, departments and with the IT and all the details with this. And Elizabeth, you've done this a long time, and I think sometimes all of you make it look so simple, but it's not simple. There's a lot of numbers on these, and it's a lot of conversations and relationships and important work. So I just wanted to acknowledge your work and Tina and your department's work. You guys are meeting with folks who might not be happy all the time, and so or might have questions or concerns. And I think you do exemplary work in trying to find and work through the process with folks and following the process and making sure this is a fair process. And I think appreciate your work with the assessor's office and working with across jurisdictions. As Tina said, you guys are always working together to always I'm amazed with your office. You're always looking to do better each year, to do it better, make sure that you're looking for gaps or things that you can improve on. And I think that's all something that we all strive to do, but I see it all the time. And I just wanted to comment. I appreciate you so much and all of you in the department's work. And I know these are a lot of numbers and we were kind of just going through the process today, but I think just to take a moment to acknowledge just your level of expertise and your number of years of service in this area have been exemplary. I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And your support.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth and team. Thanks for all the innovation and I'm hoping that made life easier for you, and glad to hear that our referees are doing well. I think that what you suggested around some kind of comparisons from previous years, I mean, we're pretty early in the process, so I don't know that would be valuable so early in the process, but certainly by the end would be good to, as we move along through the process, any insights you could give us in that space. As we know, this directly affects the budget, and so we all sit on pins and needles as this process goes forward, knowing that we want to make sure that we're valuing things in a fair way. And so we appreciate the work that our referees are doing, that we've appointed. That's a lot of hearings already in 2 or 3 days, so that's big work. And so thank you for being here, and thank you for presenting. I will ask then Commissioner Kafalis to make the motion to recommend these recommendations, to approve these recommendations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And before I offer the motion, I just wanted to do one additional bit of a shout out, and that is the person out there sitting at the table who is checking folks in and greeting folks and welcoming folks. I don't know her name. I don't know if she's a volunteer staff, but she's very pleasant, and I think that speaks volumes to the customer service commitment that we all have. And there were three older adults sitting on the bench there, and I kind of knew why they were sitting on the bench. And as I walked by, I said, "Good luck," and they all smiled. Anyhow, shall I offer the motion?
Please.
Yes, I get sidetracked now and then. I move to approve the recommendations submitted by the Board of Equalization referee for the hearings held September 15th, 2025 through September 17th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. And then Commissioner Kafales, can you adjourn us and move us out of the Board of Equalization meeting?
Indeed. I move to adjourn the meeting as the Board of Equalization and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you. There's another motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, team. Good to see you all. So we will move on to our next agenda item, which is a resolution in support of the stewardship, conservation, and continued public ownership of public lands in Larimer County. And I will ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to read this resolution, and we will make a motion then, and then you can make a motion on that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Madam Chair, I appreciate you and Commissioner Kafals, your support on getting this resolution on the agenda and supporting this. And I wanted to thank you for working through this with me as I submitted this. I wanted to just make note that the one that's in your pack on your thing had one change that had been made that we had agreed to. So I'm going to read the one that we had all finalized, and maybe we can get staff to kind of fix those two word changes. So I'm going to read from the one that I noticed a word that had been it was supposed to be removed. So I'm going to read the one that we had worked on after that. So thanks again for the support. This is again very passionate area of mine, important, I think, especially this week during Public Lands Week and Public Lands Day, another day where I try to be of service out in the community. So, and get back to the public lands that I love, that I've been hiking and hanging out with almost every weekend for about 4 weeks straight. So, but I do that year round. So I will read this now. The Larimer County Board of County Commissioners, a resolution in support of public lands, a resolution in support of the stewardship, conservation, and continued public ownership of public lands in Larimer County, whereas approximately 50% of Larimer County, Colorado, is comprised of public lands managed by agencies including the U.S. Forest Service, the National Park Service, the Bureau of Land Management, the Larimer County Department of Natural Resources and Open Lands, and Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Whereas these public lands are integral to the county's economy, environment, and character, heritage, and the quality of life enjoyed by its residents and visitors. And whereas Larimer County is home to portions of Rocky Mountain National Park, the Arapahoe Roosevelt National Forest, Lowry State Park, and several state wildlife areas and open spaces that support a robust outdoor recreation economy and abundant natural beauty. And whereas the 2025 Colorado Statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, or SCORP, found that outdoor recreation contributes $65.8 billion in economic output to Colorado's economy, supports 404,000 jobs, generates $11.2 billion in tax revenue, and a portion of which stems from activities in Larimer County, including hiking, fishing, hunting, mountain biking, horseback riding, camping, climbing, and wildlife viewing. And whereas public lands in Larimer County support a thriving tourism industry, sustain working lands through grazing leases, and provides essential ecosystem services, including clean air, water, carbon storage, biodiversity, and wildfire mitigation. And whereas these lands also preserve vital watersheds, including those that feed the Poudre and Big Thompson rivers, supplying water to hundreds of thousands of Coloradoans. And whereas Larimer County residents deeply value the accessibility and shared ownership and stewardship of public lands regardless of race, income, or background, and participate actively in stewardship through volunteer efforts, conservation partnerships, and citizen science. And whereas public lands in Larimer County also serve as outdoor classrooms, sacred spaces, and repositories of cultural and historic significance to tribal nations and local communities, whereas proposed reductions in federal agency staffing and funding threatened the responsible management of public lands and their long-term ecological health, public access, and fire resilience. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County deeply support public ownership of public lands and stand in strong opposition to any attempts to sell, transfer, lease, or otherwise dispose of public lands without robust public involvement and tribal consultation. And whereas the 2024 Conservation in the West poll found that 85% of Westerners support the creation and protection of public lands and cultural areas through national parks, monuments, refuge, and tribal protected areas. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County that the board strongly supports the continued federal and state management, conservation, and steward of public lands in Larimer County, Colorado, and across the nation. The board affirms that public lands are vital to the county's economy, health, environment, and the way of life, and must remain in public hands for the benefit of current and future generations. The board encourages the implementation of the Bureau of Land Management's Public Lands Rule, which recognizes conservation as a core use of public lands alongside recreation, grazing, energy development, and other values. The board opposes any effort to sell, transfer, lease, or otherwise dispose of public lands without meaningful public engagement and transparent processes. The board urges the Colorado congressional delegation to reject legislation or executive actions that threaten public ownership, stewardship, or management of federal lands, and instead support strong funding and policy frameworks that ensure equitable and sustainable use. The board calls on the federal land management agencies to maintain adequate staffing and resources to ensure trail maintenance, wildfire response, visitor education, law enforcement, and land conservation efforts continue at scale with rising visitation. The board further urges agencies to engage in robust consultation with tribal nations and meaningful collaboration with local governments, conservation groups, ranchers, and the broader public. Be it further resolved that the copies of this resolution will be transmitted to the Colorado congressional delegation, Governor Jared Polis, the U.S. Department of the Interior, Secretary Bugram, U.S. Department of Agricultural Secretary Rollins, and relevant federal and state land management agencies adopted this 23rd day of September 2025 by the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners. Thank you. And Madam Chair, I move to approve the resolution in support of the stewardship, conservation, and continued public ownership of public lands in Larimer County.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table, and I imagine there'll want to be further discussion. Commissioner Kafalis, we'll let you start with that.
Well, first of all, thank you to Commissioner Shattuck McNally for being the champion with this resolution, compiling and synthesizing various resolutions that we've been a part of. And of course, this is a critical and important value that we all share, protecting our public lands. And we do a pretty good job of that here. So I think this is an important proclamation, sends an important message, and I'm grateful for all the effort that has gone into doing this. Happy to support it.
Thank you. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Growing up in Colorado, I just want to read this real quick. Something I wrote earlier in the year when we thought, well, we still are under threat with our public lands. You know, growing up and born and raised in Colorado, the heartfelt conviction that America's public lands represent the most brilliant and beautiful embodiment of democracy in our republic's history is really deeply ingrained in me. The uniquely American concept of reserving not just any lands, but the very best for the benefit of the many rather than the few is a testament to the foresight of pioneers and visionaries since the late 1800s. The commitment to preserving public land marked a significant departure from the young nation's initial focus on land disposal for revenue and public settlement. Early conservationists like John Muir, who was one of the founders of Rock National Park, and Theodore Roosevelt were instrumental in advocating for the preservation of wild spaces, inspiring others to protect these vital natural spaces. And we should be proud and preserve our natural heritage, ensuring that it persists deep into the future and keep this as a gift to the next generation that has defined my life, our lives, and I hope and will help shape our children and grandchildren's future. Our public lands are a sacred trust and not a commodity to be sold. And I think we need to be all dedicated to stewardship and our core values, and shifting this for a public benefit and ownership of public lands for the public. And I want to just, again, thank you all. This is something I was born and raised with and continue to advocate for. And I encourage you all, there's Public Lands Day this weekend and this week. If there's plenty of activities through our Department of Natural Resources and other organizations to volunteer, even if it's picking up trash or trail building or other activities. And I hope you all get outside and enjoy our beautiful public lands that we all enjoy and share together. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I'll just say thank you first, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, for bringing this resolution forward. You know, I think that it's important to be vigilant and not take things for granted. And those the spaces that we're talking about, our public lands, are just a real treasure. And we know this because, you know, not only we as Americans love this land, but we have people come from all other countries to visit these beautiful spaces that we've created in our communities. And not every country does this. Not every country preserves their lands. Not every country has national parks and national monuments and forest service and spaces that we keep pristine. And so we understand the value of that. And we also understand that they could be at risk. And so what this resolution does is really just recommits our support for those public lands. We know that half of Larimer County is public lands, and that's why it's so beautiful here. And so we want to make sure that we're sending a message to our federal delegation that we need to fight for these important lands. And so I think that this resolution does that. It lets people know that this is something that we know our communities care about. We've seen the commitment to our own open spaces through the, sales tax that passed at crazy kind of rates. 80% of people supporting our local efforts to preserve lands. So we know this is a value that we hold dear in Larimer County, and so we're just really urging our congressional representatives and our federal leadership to understand how important this is, to our psyche, our mental health, and then how important this is, honestly, economically to our communities. We haven't seen anything lately. Moves towards that have been squashed, but we don't know that it won't come up again. And so thank you again to Commissioner Shattuck McNally for reminding us that we should sort of assert that position that we care about these lands and we resist any temptations to sell them off or develop them in any kind of way. So with that, we have a motion on the table. And Commissioner or County Manager, any words to close this out before we vote?
No, I think you all have said it. This is it's really a value to our community. It's a long-standing historical value for all the reasons that you cited. And I think having this statement on the record is important for our community to see, that you all understand as well how important it is to them.
Thank you. So with that, there's a motion on the table. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. So we will move on to our last agenda item, which I think is fitting in light of what we just discussed, which is a resolution. Oh, nope, that was, okay. I think that it's on this one, right? Approval of the acceptance of the Legend Trail Ranch Conservation Easement donation as recommended by the Open Lands Advisory Board at its August 28th, 2025 meeting. And submitted by Justin Core from Natural Resources and Megan Flanagan from Natural Resources. Welcome, and thank you for introducing this.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Megan Flanagan with the Natural Resources Department. And this is a project you learned about in executive session about a month and a half ago. And we're at a point to bring it back for your final decision. It's a conservation easement up in our Larimer Foothills Conservation Area, pretty close to Livermore, actually, where we've been doing quite a bit of work, as you know, over the past, but we've had a lot of projects up there this year. And to your earlier agenda item, a lot of that has been to try to add to, expand upon, buffer federal, state, and county and city conserved lands, as well as other conservation easements where we've invested a lot of dollars or less, 30 years. And you can see this project in red is, it's a 675-acre parcel that the conservation easement is being donated. And Justin will give you a lot of the details on that. But I just want to point out where it is relative to a lot of that existing conservation work. So everything in orange on this map are other conservation easements that have been completed. The largest, the Roberts Ranch up in the Laramie Foothills area. But a handful of these are smaller ones that were done over time to buffer Roberts Ranch. And then you can see the ones just west there of Eagle's Nest Open Space, which is bright green, are those that we completed this just this spring. So this project fits really nicely, trying to fill in some of the gaps in this landscape, create that larger landscape whole that we're always looking to do. So with that, I'll give it to Justin.
All right, good morning. Justin Core, Senior Land Agent in the Engineering and Natural Resources Departments. So, as Megan mentioned, this is a 675-acre ranch. You can see on the map here, it's just north of the intersection of County Road 74E and Highway 287. So it's about, a half mile or so north of that intersection on the east side of the highway. As Megan mentioned, this is a conservation easement donation. So the landowner is, leveraging the donation of the conservation easement to earn state income tax credits. Let's see. So when we talk about conservation easements, we do like to touch on kind of the definition of what that means. So a conservation easement is an agreement, it's a voluntary agreement with willing landowners between the landowner and the county that's intended to protect the conservation values of the property in perpetuity. So each conservation easement is tailored to the specific property and the landowner's intended use of the land. And then the county stewards the conservation easement through an annual monitoring program where we ensure that the terms of the conservation easement are being followed and those conservation values are protected. So each conservation easement is unique, protects its own suite of conservation values that confer benefits to the public. So with this project, the conservation easement will protect a relatively natural wildlife habitat, which consists primarily of intact foothills grasslands and some limited riparian areas associated with seasonal drainages and old irrigation channels. and including the North Poudre Irrigation Canal, the North Poudre Canal, which forms the northern boundary of the conservation easement. Stuck. All right. So the next important conservation value that's protected is the protection of scenic values. So this easement will protect the eastern backdrop of Highway 287 near Livermore. Again, so in a part of the county that's where this easement, in terms of what it's protecting, in terms of the scenery, will keep that unique character in this part of the county. You can see Highway 287 in this photograph, kind of in the background, the straight line, and this part of the property will remain undeveloped. In terms of development rights, there are 2 building envelopes associated with the conservation easement. One of those is around the existing residence, and then there's a second building envelope which allows for 1 additional residential improvement and a limited number of agricultural or non-residential improvements up in the northern part of the property. So in an area of the property that's completely outside of this view shed and near or closer to other developed 35-acre tracts, which are north of the range. And then third conservation value is the protection of open space or agricultural working lands. So let's see, I get this. I've got a message popped up here that I can't get rid of. So there's about 80 acres of irrigated ground within the conservation easement up in the northern part of the property under a center pivot sprinkler, which you can see in this picture. Traditionally or historically, the property's been used for cattle grazing and some hay production on this portion of the property. There is 1 share of North Poudre Irrigation Company water that will be tied to the conservation easement, so that will be available to support the agricultural uses of the property into the future, and that water right can't be permanently separated from the property. So in summary, it's again, 675-acre conservation easement donation. Of course, we're grateful and very pleased to be working with a landowner who shares the objectives of the open space program and is donating the conservation easement and earning those tax credits to leverage our ability to conserve as much land as we can in Larimer County. Again, it's in the Laramie Foothills Priority Area, which is an area includes the mountains, the plains conservation project. So it's a landscape scale conservation effort with a lot of entities involved. So that's important. As you mentioned, the recommendation came from the Open Lands Advisory Board for accepting the conservation easement back at its August meeting, and we have a closing scheduled for next week, actually, to close on the conservation easement and accepting that. So with that, I think we could answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Justin. Any questions? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
First, thanks for including the pictures with the horses. That's such a beautiful picture. And I know you guys pretty much comb all over those properties and know that area very well. You've developed some pretty powerful and strong relationships with a lot of landowners, including this one and the ones that we had just conserved to the west. So can you just, I know the answer to this, but I just thought for the public's interest, when they look at that map and see all this contiguous conservation, again, I understand, I know this answer, but I just wanted to kind of share with the public how important it is as a conservation value just for wildlife migration and other values of this, getting these all kind of close together and preserving landscape scale things. Can you just kind of expand on that a little bit? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just go back to that map as well. Yeah, when we look at our different priority areas from our master plan, the reason we've looked at isolated groupings of landscapes is so we can conserve lands that are in these contiguous blocks with the intent of, by having connectivity for wildlife to move, by having limited fragmentation of different habitats, so wildlife can function mostly across these large ranging systems or river corridors. Also, in some of these areas where agricultural is still active, having complexes of like land uses really is helpful to promulgate that persisting into the future. So particularly in this landscape, all of those apply, plus some of that view shed that Justin described. So I think most of us have experience driving up 287 to Wyoming or up the Red Feather Lakes Road, and when you look at a map like this, you know that that landscape, that view shed will look pretty much like that forever into the future. So that being a really strong value of the county too, to protect these view sheds, these landscapes, and this contiguous habitat.
Thank you. And yeah, like I said, I knew the answer was to that, but I think it's important to emphasize that. And again, the view sheds, maybe folks won't be able to ever walk on this, but the view sheds and the value of the view sheds being protected in perpetuity is for this postcard view for generations to come, for all to enjoy, and visitors and residents alike. And I just want to thank you all for your tremendous work in this area, and I'm very excited about having this on this agenda today with all the other items that we have been focused on. So I will definitely be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments, Commissioner? Go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Thank you, colleagues. I'm glad that we can keep Justin busy throughout the year. My question is this. Can you remind us of the process for securing state conservation easement tax credits and how that benefits the landowner? Because I think those are locked up pretty early in the year. So just a reminder how that works and what your role is, what the county's role is in all of this, and how that benefits the landowner.
Right. So the tax credits are a significant benefit here in the state of Colorado to landowners that donate conservation easements. And to earn those credits, an application, the landowner makes an application to the Division of Conservation, which is in the State Department of Regulatory Agencies. So that division, reviews the applications that comes in and issues the tax credits. In 2021, the tax credit, or the basis for what a landowner could earn in terms of the tax credits, which is based on an appraisal of the conservation easement value, went up from about 50% of that conservation easement value to 90%. So there's a lot of interest in conservation easement donations, and each landowner is able to earn more of those credits because of the change from 50-ish to 90%. So as you mentioned, Commissioner Kafalis, that bank or the cap of tax credits has been met earlier and earlier every year. And so the state can't withhold those tax credits. Once the application comes in and it's approved, they have to issue those. But there is more or less kind of a waiting period because the tax credits are currently used up for the remainder of 2025, 2026, and maybe part of 2027. So these lenders can earn the tax credits, but they just aren't issued until they're available. To remedy that, last year, there was an increase in the cap from $45 million to $50 million to try to get more credits out to meet demand. So this is the first year of 2025 that the cap is at $50 million, but that was met early in the year.
Thank you, Justin. That's very helpful. So just two questions, comments for follow-up. One is, so if a landowner has land that is, the appraised value is $1 million, then the 90% means that they'll get $900,000 tax break. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that can be carried forward over a number of years. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct. So, tax credit that's issued and then they can utilize that. A landowner can utilize that against their own state income tax liability,
That's
or
it.
sell the credit through a broker.
Yeah.
And there's a 20-year carry forward. Correct.
And my final question, and that is, in light of the current state budget situation, is this resource of these programs at risk? They don't want to get off too easy.
You know, that's definitely something we're paying attention to. We're a member of Keep It Colorado, which is a statewide group that does a lot of legislative activity and advocacy around, particularly the tax credit. So they're keeping us appraised of what's happening. Our concern is the tax credit does expire in 2031. And so as it's getting used up sooner and sooner in each year now through 2027, how many more years can we continue to do donated easements before the credit may be exhausted through 2031 without having it extended? So that's something we'll really be hoping to see happen in the next few years to know that's secured and we can keep moving forward. In the short term, it may mean for us having to look at funding more easements through our sales tax versus relying on the tax credit for the next year or two. So you may see some of that when we come back.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. Just appreciate you bringing this forward to get there again. Thank you for creating those relationships that make projects like this happen. Certainly thank the landowner from us for, for the donation and that kind of legacy that person is leaving to our community. Really appreciate it. And there again, it's really nice to see the puzzle pieces come together. It's great to see the visual of all these conserved lands in this beautiful space. To know that it won't be developed is really heartening for all of us, I think. So with that, Commissioner Kavalis, I'll ask you to make the motion on this item.
Yes, thank you, colleagues. I move that the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners approve the resolution approving the acquisition of the Legend Trail Ranch Conservation Easement Statement of Authority and Deed of Conservation Easement.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
You're welcome. So move on to the county manager update.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll keep it relatively brief. I did a lot of coordination last week with our elected offices that are our county partners. I talked to Sheriff John Fayen, Assessor Bob Overbeck, and Coroner Stephen Hanks. This is outside of the regular budget meetings we have. We just try to coordinate our activities and make sure that we do function as one big agency to the extent that we can. And then outside partners, Estes Park Town Manager Travis Michalik and I met, and CSU Extension Front Range Regional Director Carrie Rollins and I met for our regular updates. So it's always good to coordinate with those folks, make sure that we're on the same page and that we know what we're doing. Most importantly, and maybe most exciting, is we received 2 grants last week. We were notified that we were awarded over $500,000 from the Colorado Water Conservation Board for 2 separate projects, a groundwater study that I know is really important to you all, the work that's being done. Ultimately, we'll provide a recommendation for groundwater management for the county, so it'll engage a consultant to perform some work for us that is critical work to go forward. So that's really exciting. And then equally exciting, we have another $213,000 grant for River Bluffs open space habitat restoration. Our Natural Resources Department will be shepherding that. And so not only are they acquiring space, but we're working to recreate habitats and to make sure that we keep those spaces natural and available for the future. So 2 really exciting things to report on. Thank you for allowing me to do that.
Thank you for sharing that good news. Any questions or comments for Lorinda? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thanks, Lorinda. I had heard whispers about the River Bluffs project, so that I think we talked about in the plans. Really excited about that. But the groundwater study is remarkable and something I'm really super thankful and grateful for, because it's going to be a huge piece for us going forward and part of our water master plan. So thanks to community development, and I think Scott Benton had helped with that,
Yes.
and want to congratulate him and Rebecca and Leslie on a job well done getting that grant, and just really looking forward to seeing what we learn and how we use this to help preserve kind of some of our water, groundwater here in Larimer County. I know other counties are struggling with this, and I think this will be really powerful information. Thanks for sharing that.
And we appreciate the partnership with the state to be able to help us fund these. Very little of this will be county funds. The matching requirement is 25%. So this is very significant to get over $500,000 to do these two projects. So thank you to CPW for that.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Lorinda, and thank you for setting the example for short reports. I think we'll aim for some short reports, since it's been a long and pretty emotional meeting for us. So, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I'll have you get started.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I will start last week on Tuesday, I just met with some state legislators to talk about future session next year and what kind of landscape and conversations we're having on some legislation we've been talking about together. So that was really productive. We had the Big Thompson Watershed Health Partnership meeting, which is continuing to look at priority projects and how to find metrics and a system to work on that. And it was very powerful. They're still really great conversations. I went up to the Harmony Recovery area up in Estes Park and toured that decade-long organization and location that work on helping folks work through recovery from all substance abuse and mental health issues, all kinds of areas, and met with the new director and some other folks, and seeing the expansion of some of their services, including a new greenhouse that was donated by a donor that some of the graduates of the program helped do the landscaping around and stuff. Is pretty powerful to see. They're going to try to add some outdoor outdoor areas year round with gardening and things. So really great to see. I did that with Estes Park trustee Cindy Younglin, which serves with me on the Regional Opioid Abatement Council. And little cute story I wanted to share with my colleagues is that she kind of grew up across the road from Harmony when it was Resort before it became Harmony Recovery. And she talked about sneaking across the table. All the youth in the area would come and jump in the pool. And so at the resort, so lots of fond memories for her. And so I appreciate her sharing those stories. And then I had went to the Mivos in La Familia at meeting and North Azalon Center, and I wanted to just share. They were super excited to share all the projects that are happening, but one of those is related to the Open Lands Advisory Board. Had given out some grants, and one of those recipients was Mivos in La Familia to do gardening boxes in their community. And they were so excited about the ripple effect from that, because even though they were only for certain areas and one part of the park, it inspired other folks to do their own raised bed gardens, and they've been exchanging vegetables, and it's been very powerful to see that it didn't just impact this one grant, but it brought others in the community to build these gardens and to share produce and vegetables. So I wanted to share that they were extremely grateful for that grant, and that comes through the open space land sales tax dollars. And want to share with my colleagues that they're very grateful, and it's had a really powerful impact in that community. And then I went up to have my annual meeting up at Tohosa Valley. We met at the High Peak Camp again. They're so generous to let us sit in their either their worship space or in the cafeteria. And we had a lot of folks come, and folks that have been coming for years, and now because they didn't really have meetings with commissioners before, so it's really great to fold that commitment to go up there. And now they're working on things like their own community wildfire protection plan. One of the gals leading that, they didn't even think about that or talk about that even 3 or 4 years ago. And the work that they're doing together to communicate, and they really feel like they have a great connection to the county, and we're going to continue to work on that with some concerns they have. And then we had, I went up and had my common grounds with open meeting with Common Grounds at Kind Coffee. Some great constituent comments, and again, aging concerns about folks with aging community up there, and the hospital changes and other changes people were worried about. And then we had lunch with the mayor and some other trustees, and it was a really productive day up in that part of the county. And then I sat through, we had a Forest Health Council legislative meeting and really powerful presentation from the State Department of Natural Resources and the work that they're doing with the furworm program and other wildfire resiliency, and the amount of work, acreage and outcomes they have was really impressive. I'm going to get those slides soon. If my colleagues are interested, I'd be more than happy to send that to you. And then I sat until about 4 o'clock. With the actually went till 3 for the CCI steering committee meetings, as we presented again kind of more information on all of our proposals with our colleagues from around the state. And I would say almost every one of our proposals received positive comments and work. And so I thank staff for helping kind of support through all of that. And it was really great to have that discussion. And then yesterday, just wanted to share real quick about I guess that's it. The rest of those are pretty routine. So that's all I have to share. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks for your work this past week. Commissioner Kafalis.
I think I'll pass this morning.
All right. I think I will pass as well. So with that, we have no more business to come before us. We have no legal matters this morning. So at 11:15, we are adjourned. We'll see you next week, Larimer County.